It's thinking. It says in stream, so I'm guessing it says live. So kind of waiting here, see. Oh look, there we are. We're on YouTube, so there we go. I'm not worried about how delayed it is or whatever. So it is.
You got to scream the "do it live" thing. You got to do the
do it live. We're gonna do it live.
Everything sucks.
You know, you would think if you had that big of a blow up online, like, you know, when it was recorded, it would pretty much be like in old media that would have just sunk your career. But it's like, no, that's what dude's known for now. So, you know, it is what it is.
Nobody even knows anymore. Nobody remembers Bill O'Reilly, like, for any of his political stuff. They just like, yeah, he's the Do It Live guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
My dad used to watch him.
Well, we have a couple of viewers now, so I guess we'll go ahead and start talking here.
Hello, viewers.
Hello, everyone. So if you are joining us, this is we're going to start doing some live streams here on Epically Geeky. We used to do the shows live, or at least, actually several of the shows, but we used to do the shows live. We kind of got away from that. Just technical issues that we were having. People with you know how it is, bandwidth gets, you know, constrained or whatever. So we end up going to being recorded shows. But you know, YouTube's changed what they're looking for. So we're doing it live. That being said, this is going to be one of our less structured things. In fact, it's probably not even going to go up on the podcast feed, which is perfectly fine. But tonight I wanted to start off as the title for the stream is, we're going to talk about the summer movie game. So for those of you who don't know, oh, by the way, let me go ahead and introduce myself. Oh, my son's on there. Nice. Of course. Well. Oh, well. Let me tell you, kids these days, like that's their favorite thing to say. They walk into a room and just like, well. Yeah. So I'm Eugene Stevens from epicallygeeky.com. This is my, no, I'm not going to say that. This is my buddy Cyrus.
You're not going to say what? You're not going to say what?
I was going to say, what is the term they use from the movies? My lifelong hetero partner.
My partner in crime.
Yeah, that works too. So
yeah, like I throw that sometimes. That comes out.
Cyrus Martin, how you doing, man?
Excellent.
We're going to start off talking about the summer movie game. It's a game that we've done on the site on and off for years and years. We used to do it every year, and then this little thing called COVID happened, and it kind of screwed everything up. You know, it's hard to bet on how well movies are going to do in the theater when there are no movies in the theater. And we're finally getting to the point back where we could actually start doing this. So let's kind of pull up the numbers here and let's see what we're looking at. This is actually week 9 that we're in so far. So for those of you who don't know, the summer movie season essentially starts in May and ends on Labor Day. So essentially what we did was I found a list of all of what I felt were going to be decent making movies, almost all of them, and put up a list and then told everyone, hey, I want you to create a list of what you think are going to be the top 10 grossing movies this summer. And so everyone did that. Everyone came up with their list. And depending on how they're ranked, you get certain points. So if you were to get number 1 and 10 correct, it's worth 13 points. If you get 2 through 9, it's 10 points. And then everyone that is off from that, you get a few fewer points or whatever. And the cool thing about this game is as it goes on, the points just keep shifting. Like one week you may be on top of the heap, and the next week something comes out and it just destroys the list. And that's kind of what is happening so far this year. So like I said, we're in week 9. We still have until September. So there's still some really big movies coming out. But right now, number 1 with a bullet and not even close is Lilo and Stitch, the live action. I don't remember I had it on my list. All I know is I thought it was going to do okay. I actually bet How to Train Your Dragon was going to do better because looking at the stuff I had already heard, well, Lilo and Stitch changes some stuff from the original movie. Some people actually, really like the original movie. Apparently they're liking this new one. I know several people who have seen it and they said they enjoyed this new live action. But leading up to this, Disney's last couple of live action movies didn't do so great. Specifically, the oh, what was it? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Cyrus, did you see that one by chance?
No.
No. Did you hear the same horrible things I did about it?
I think I heard a lot worse things probably than what you've heard.
Like I know part of it blew up because the young lady that was playing Snow White apparently was saying some stuff that wasn't going so well on the red carpet and in the pre-interviews and stuff. But also Disney just did not know what to do with the Seven Dwarves. Like they're like, do we hire little people? Is that bad for us to do? Is it bad for us to hire other actors and make them look like little people? And so they just decided on, let's just do the worst thing possible all the way around, and made them look like horrible, monstrous humanoid characters or whatever.
Didn't they call them magical creatures or something like that?
I don't remember. I wouldn't doubt it at this point. They just like, if you could run into a trap, they did. They ran into the trap headlong on this one. So, but yeah, after that, I was like, in fact, they had even said Lilo and Stitch will be it. After that, we are not making any more live action, adaptations for original movies. And I think most people were like, good, because that one sucked.
Yeah. They had the last few things they tried to do, Aladdin, I guess, and The Lion King, with unfortunately not the best version of James Earl Jones. You know, he was struggling, obviously.
Yeah.
They struggled with these live action ones. They didn't want to give up, though. You got to give them credit for persistence. They were like, this one will work. We'll make this time it'll be different,
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Like their persistence. Like I'm just like, no, they just didn't learn. They were just like, we're just going to keep running into this wall until it happens.
Well, there seems to be a Disney theme there with recent years, various different franchises.
Yeah, no joke. I was going to pull up here real quick and see if I can find the list of some of the other stuff that I had done. But anyway, so I actually had bet How to Train Your Dragon was going to do better than Lilo and Stitch, because all the stuff that came out about it says it was basically a straight remake of the cartoon, because the original movie was fantastic. If you've ever watched the original How to Train Your Dragon, it's a great movie. I don't know if I've seen the sequels, but I've heard they're really good as well. Now it also has come out later, but it's not going to catch it. It's just not there.
I was confused about that too. My daughter was really into How to Train Your Dragon, and when it didn't make more money, I was like, interesting. Because maybe I don't know. That's a funny thing, because there's a certain age range where that movie was super popular, at least the first one, but maybe, I don't know, maybe they waited too long or something. Like, I don't know.
And see, the other thing is they just opened up the Universal Studios, and they have an entire land dedicated to How to Train Your Dragon, and everyone who's been there says it is fantastic. The weird looking robot dog that they have from Boston Dynamics, they've got one skinned to look like a dragon, and apparently they're like, everyone's like, oh, it works great. It looks beautiful. It's like everything that led up to this, the marketing, there was a ton of marketing for it. Like I said, they had the new land opening up. I thought, man, this thing's going to come out and fly, pun intended. It is doing well, but it's not doing kind of what I thought it was going to do. Just looking back real quick. So Snow White, man, and it was 2025. It was in this year. It was this calendar year that Snow White came out. 77 million. Is all that movie made. 77 million. And I think I don't know if that's the worldwide or domestic, but it's probably domestic, because I try to use just the domestic numbers. But like Lilo and Stitch is blowing it out. And the fact that, once again, Disney does not seem to learn the right thing they should be learning from this, because they've already said, hey, we're going to make the live action Lilo and Stitch too. And it's like, okay, let's go ahead and squeeze that rock for as much blood as we can get out of it. So, But yeah, the original Lilo and Stitch made 145 million. So, I mean, and that was back in 2002. So you're talking 23 years between the two movies. So
Movie
I don't
tickets
know.
are probably about twice as much as what they used to be too. So factor that in.
Yeah, that could be the case as well. Well, also back then everyone was pushing uh 3D. Like remember that scam when they were constantly trying to push every single movie. Now I will say though, and it was funny because when I watched the original How to Train Your Dragon, I remember thinking I like the 3D in here better than I do on Avatar because
Oh,
because the way that it was done being animated, it felt awesome. And then the flying scenes that they have in that movie were great doing it in 3D. So uh but yeah, let's see here. What did yeah, the original How to Train Your Dragon. The last one that came out, the last sequel that came out was 2019 and it made 160 million. So this one's doing better than the last animated one. So it's on an uptick, but like I said, I think Lilo and Stitch just kind of took the air out of everything. Thunderbolts, I think, is actually doing about what I thought it was going to do. The movie previous to this was Captain America: Brave New World. That came out February 14th, and it clocked in at 199 million, and this is sitting at 189, so just under what it was doing. Have you seen Brave New World? I
I
haven't either.
honestly, ever since Endgame, I haven't really watched
Really,
much.
since Endgame,
Yeah,
huh?
I watched the Spider-Man one that had all
Mm-hmm.
the different Spider-Man, but I checked out, man. I was like, you know what? It. I know I'm not the typical person. You know, a lot of people are fans of the. They'll watch just whatever comes out and they'll enjoy it. But I kind of get burned out on things, and I just got burned out on superhero stuff. I was like, and that's kind of what my problem is right now too. I just am burned out on superhero stuff. You know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I kept up for a while, but in fact, I've seen all of the Marvel movies up until Brave New World. That was
Mm.
where I finally broke. And it was just like, I'm gonna wait for it to hit Disney Plus. I literally watched all the TV series. I have not kept up with. I am
Yeah.
several of the TV series behind, and some of them I've heard are actually pretty good, and I just haven't gotten around to watching them yet. So, but Thunderbolts I think did pretty well for about what I thought it was going to do. Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning though did not do what I thought it was going to do. It
No.
actually did better than the first one. Okay, I still don't get this. Like, so the last one was Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 in 2023. So it's only been 2 years, right? Only 2 years. And this last one is Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning. And I'm like, y'all couldn't even stick with Dead Reckoning Part 2? Like,
I
what's
don't
going on
know.
here,
I
guys?
honestly, I haven't watched the past 5 or so
Oh, I haven't
movies,
either.
so I don't know.
It's just the fact that they couldn't even keep the name continuing on. You
Maybe
know what
there
I'm
was one
saying?
that slipped in and we didn't know about it. There's so many. Like, I don't know.
Fair enough. I mean, it technically made better than the last one did. The last one was 172 million. This is clocking in at 185. So, I mean, it did a little better than the last one. But yeah, I think he said he's done, but I think the
Yeah,
gas is pretty much dried up out of that tank. I think,
he's like 70 now, and
yeah, and a
yeah,
vampire.
yeah, and they've made a lot of those movies. They just kept putting them out over and over and over to the point to where I think the reason you're seeing lower numbers now is people are just like, okay, we get it. You
Yeah.
know?
It's Tom Cruise. Okay, so we're gonna go watch Tom Cruise run and jump from something, right? Like, what is he doing from now? Is it a building? Is it a plane?
Also,
Is it a
I want
plane off of a
to.
building?
Right. I want to say, I think people were kind of morbidly curious because they thought he was going to die at some point, like doing stunts. And so they wanted to watch because they were like, this one almost killed him. Maybe, be the next one that gets him or whatever. But,
Yeah,
clearly it's not going to be, this is what's going to happen with Tom Cruise. He's not going to die from some crazy stunt. He's going to die making a movie. but it'll be something stupid. Like he'll slip on a banana peel or some shit. You know, like there'll be
choke on a grape or something.
Yes, it'll be
yeah. So yeah, that's funny. Next up is Final Destination. So got a funny story about that. The last Final Destination was this one's called Final Destination Bloodlines. It actually did fairly well. So the last Final Destination was part 5, and that was in 2011. Like, so it's been, a good amount of time since the last one. The last one only made 42 million. This one is at 136. So I mean, it more than doubled the previous movie.
I heard it wasn't too bad. I think you had some people maybe gave you a review of that. I don't know.
Yeah. So my one of my boys, his girlfriend and her family wanted to take him to go see this, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, is it okay if I go see this movie?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a horror movie. We haven't watched a lot of horror movies. Do you think you're going to be up for it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think so." I'm like, "Well, do you think we should go and watch the first one so you have an idea what's going on?" He literally looks at me and goes, "There are other ones?" And I'm just like, "Oh my God." So I'm like, "Yes, son, there are other Final Destination movies." So we went back and watched the original one. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Like, I don't remember it being as scary, as frightful, or however you want to put it when I originally watched it. That first movie, though, the hardest part of that movie. Have you seen it? Have you seen the original Final Destination?
Oh yeah, the original.
Okay. Yeah. Where the kid gets strangled to death in the tub. That was pretty rough to watch. And then after that, it very kind of quickly started going downhill. Like, there's I'll never forget the kill where the woman puts the cup on the monitor, the old fashioned CRT monitor, and it cracks and it causes liquid to go in there, and then it sparks. And while she's looking at the monitor, it explodes and causes it to like shrapnel in her neck or whatever. And that's when I checked out of that movie. I'm like, monitors don't do that. This is stupid. So
yeah. Some of the kills early were really interesting, with like the logs that came off the back of the truck and stuff. Some of that.
Did you know they did that was part of the ad campaign for this new one? They had trucks that look like log trucks, and it was advertising the new Final Destination Bloodlines.
Wow.
Yeah, they leaned into that.
Man, imagine being on the highway and getting behind a truck and you're like, uh-oh.
That's a total thing. Like that. I will say that was the one thing, and I think that's the second or third movie when they do the log truck. But that has scarred people like Jaws did. Like, people know you don't drive behind a log truck.
No.
So. All right, another surprise that's on here is number 6, F1. This shocked the hell out of me. I don't think anyone who signed up for the summer movie game, I think one person had F1 on their list. Like, everyone was like, does anyone really want to watch Brad Pitt go drive an F1 car? But I guess so. I mean, it's made 55 million. I don't know how much more it's going to make, but
I'll tell you something funny about that. My brother, Manon, he got me to watching F1 races recently, the past 2 years. Mm-hmm. And so we were watching F1 racing, like when it was in season, we were watching it like all the time, like almost every weekend. And I never heard nothing about this movie until it was about to come out. And we were watching F1 all the time. And I was like, I was just shocked because it was like all of a sudden this movie's coming out and I hadn't heard. I'm like, you guys aren't going to promote it on the F1 broadcast? It was strange.
Yeah, you would think that would be the place to do it. In fact, the only place I saw it advertised was on the home screen for my Apple TV Plus. Like, it was on there constantly, and I'm just to the point I was like, "Is this movie coming to the theater? Like, is it?" Because they were promoting it like almost like it was going to come directly to Apple TV Plus, and I was just like, "Okay, well, maybe I don't put it on the list." But sure enough, I mean, it came out in theaters, obviously, and it's doing okay. So, Karate Kid Legends, I thought it was going to do all right. I think it's done about what I thought it was going to do. 51 million. That's not too bad.
I think people were a little put off with the Karate Kid Legends, though, because they didn't bring what's his name, Johnny. They didn't bring Johnny.
Oh,
along. Yeah. People were a little annoyed by that because we just had the final season of Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah, and see, I thought maybe that was going to cause it to be better. In fact, I'm looking back, the last Karate Kid movie actually in theaters was The Karate Kid back in 2010, and it made $176 million. This movie was only made 51. So
yeah,
I guess the love for Cobra Kai did not follow people to the theater.
Also, there's been some controversy regarding the Kreese, the guy that plays Kreese. Apparently, he was at a convention with the cast from Cobra Kai, and I don't know if you heard about this, but
no, I didn't.
Okay, I don't know what her name is, but the lady that was the Cobra Kai instructor, teacher lady from Japan, her grandfather was she was
okay.
You know
who
I'm talking about? Okay,
yeah.
So apparently, for some reason, this guy who plays Kreese bit her. Like, I guess he was playing around, but he was playing around a little too rough during the convention, and bit her really hard, just goofing around, I guess. But maybe he was drunk because he has an alcohol problem. I don't know. I'm just saying something maybe was going on there. But she flipped out and they threw him out of the convention. And there's a video of her chewing him out in front of the place, wherever it was. And he is apologizing to her and stuff. But he's been like blackballed. Like he's done. Like nobody will work with him anymore. He's out. So there's some weird stuff. Maybe it's affecting the Karate Kid thing is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
This one is also a surprise to me, Ballerina. It's technically, I've seen it written. It's funny. I've seen it written both ways. Ballerina, from the world of John Wick. I've also seen from the world of John Wick, Ballerina. Like I've seen it written both ways.
The reason for that, I can tell you, is that a lot of people didn't know it was related to John Wick. So they flipped it around so people would see the John Wick first, because they're thinking it's not making money because people couldn't figure out that it was, Keanu Reeves is in this movie. People are like,
and he is. And the one review that I've heard, I actually listened to a podcast earlier today, and there were a couple guys on there, and they said that they actually really liked it. They're like, apparently he shows up at the first part, but they were saying that there were a bunch of reshoots for this movie, and it may be because there wasn't enough John Wick in it, and they were like, we need more John Wick in this movie, which I definitely get. I could definitely see that happening. But yeah, 51 million, and the last John Wick was 187. So
yeah.
I don't know if it's just maybe people, like you said, didn't realize that this was a John Wick movie. If people are just kind of getting tired of that story, or maybe they're just like, no, I just want to follow him doing badass stuff. I don't care about all of the rest of this world or whatever. So,
yeah.
But, 28 years later, I've not heard good things about it.
That's very disappointing. That's what I've also heard. Yeah.
The last one, 28 weeks later, was 2007, and it only made $28 million. So this one's actually doubled the amount.
Well, this guy is planning to make 2 more of these movies that are part of this 28 years later. It's supposed to be a trilogy, and Cillian Murphy's supposed to come back in it, but I don't know if they're going to make the other movies now because it hasn't made as much money as they'd hoped. Yeah,
I mean, it's made decent. I mean, depending on how much the budget was. And I know one of the other big selling things that they were saying is they made this movie on iPhones because they were like, it kept our footprint very small. And so we could go around and get all these shots and not really interfere with everything really around people.
One of the big things that they talked about when they did the first movie, 28 Days Later, was that it was shot on the Sony VX2000, which is the camcorder that I owned. It was
okay.
They shot it on mini DV tape on one of those old school cameras. That was one of the big things. That movie helped get a lot of people pushed into indie filmmaking during that time. And that was like what they talked about was, oh yeah, we shot this on these cameras and it was super cheap and easy and we had all this mobility and stuff. So it's funny they're doing that again with the iPhones. I wonder if they have like a deal with Apple for that. Probably, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I'm sure that was probably some of the backing. So,
Yeah.
and then the last movie, I don't know if anyone hardly had it on their list. I think I may have put it as a dark horse because you were able to put 3 dark horse picks, movies that you're like, I don't know if it's going to make the top 10, but if it does, I can still get a point for it. And it's this movie Elio. The advertising campaign for it, just like nothing about it like grabbed me, and I was just because none of it like it didn't look fun, it didn't look interesting to me.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, like they did not push it as, and supposedly it was, now this is secondhand. I saw this on a TikTok or reel or whatever it was, social media, that someone was saying how surprising that a movie that was going to come out about this kid being, I don't remember if it was gay or trans or something, and it had a story and an idea behind it, and Disney basically was like, no, we can't do all that, and got new writers and directors in and redid everything, and it basically came out to be a movie that no one cares about because it doesn't really say anything. And I was just like, well, I don't know about all that stuff, but kind of fits what came out, because like I said, what has come out does not look interesting to me at all. And apparently it's not doing well at all. Of course, then again, it's also trying to battle with Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon. I mean, if you ask a kid, which one do you want to go see? They're going to go say, I want to go see the flying dragons, or I want to see the little alien that runs around eating everything. So not this weird movie that no one's heard of. So, but yeah, so that's our current top 10. Like I said, I update it every week. We'll just swing over here real quick and look at the top 10. I keep saying I do not want to be in the position I'm in. Currently, I'm in first place because the way this, I don't want to be in first place because the way this game works, if you usually end up with a lead in the beginning, some of these other movies are going to come out and it's going to screw you over. And so I still ascertain I might make it in the top 5. But yeah, I'm just waiting for something to come out. And honestly, I think this coming week's really going to be my big thing, because I put Jurassic Park as my number 1. Looking back at the numbers and everything, Jurassic World Dominion, which by the way was not a good movie. No, it was not a good movie.
Nope.
But it still made $376 million.
Yeah, dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. And so I hope this one, from a game aspect, I hope this movie does really, really well. But I don't know.
Well, they keep making Jurassic Parks because they print money.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Superman's going to make a lot of money, though.
I think it is as well. I had it fairly high up. And then the other big one still to drop is Fantastic Four. So we'll see how much it clocks in. Yeah, I
don't know, because they had a show that they just debuted that's related to something to do with Iron Man and
Ironheart,
it's not doing well and people are not happy with it. So
yeah, I honestly have seen some of the stuff on it and it doesn't really look that interesting to me. But once again, we're talking about, we're getting well away from like main characters or whatever. So, but we'll see. So before we wrap up, you actually posted something you wanted to talk about. I didn't get a chance to read this. I mean, I kind of scanned over it a little bit, but so let's talk about this real quick.
Wow, what a day! What a day it's been.
All the Xbox games canceled and studios closed in Microsoft's latest mass layoffs. So, I mean, I don't keep up super well with the video game industry, but what I do know is I've got 2 boys, and one of them has told me he has played around with the idea of maybe going into making games. And I think that's awesome. You have a kid. You know how it is to you don't want to stomp on their dreams. You want to encourage them to do what they want to do. But as an adult and a parent, you also want to caution them
All
about
right.
doing something.
Let me say something.
Go on. Go on.
You know my buddy Retro Bro, John, the Retro Bro?
Yeah.
So he makes games. He makes retro games, homebrew games for the Nintendo Entertainment System. He's also made them for Steam and for different things as well. Independent. And his latest game he did a Kickstarter on. He does all this himself. He has a team of people he works with, but some guy makes his music, another guy helps him with artwork, different, things like that.
Yeah.
But he just did a Kickstarter, and for one game that it took a little while to do, but it's not like it takes years. It took him, a good amount of time to put this game together. He did a lot of work on it and tweaked it and stuff. But for this one game, his Kickstarter raised $18,000. If you want to make games, you can make games. But I would not. I would do things independently. There's a lot of people on itch.io and on Kickstarter that are making their own games and putting them out and making their own money. And their games are out there and people are playing them. And they're not playing this game of trying to work with these big publishers and work with these big consoles. I mean, you can still get your game on the Switch. You can still get your game on Steam and on different things and not have nothing to do with any of these corporate interests. And believe me, this story today is a big reason you don't want to put all your eggs into their basket. Absolutely.
Right. And that's what I was getting to was like, I've if he really wants to go down this path, and I've told my wife this as well. I'm like, I'm definitely going to push him. Hey, yes, we have a special campus in my school district where he can learn game design. That would be fantastic for him to do. But if he really, really wants to go into this, he needs to start making his own games. Whether or not they get published, whether or not how far he wants to push it, whatever. Like you were saying, I know there are routes to get that. If he wants to do this, that would be the better route to go about it. Number one, because I still think, and I've been told, if you walk into an interview and say, hey, I have a degree in this, this, and this, they're going to say, okay, that's great, but what have you actually done? Whereas if you walk in and go, I've made the following 3 games, and you may have heard of them because they're really good or whatever, that's going to hold a lot more water. The thing I was getting at, though, was even if you were to get hired on one of these companies, it's just this constant cycle. And I've talked to someone in the game industry and they're just like, yeah, that's just how it works. It's just, you work really hard. You put in all this overtime. They work you to the bone. They release the game. It makes millions, maybe billions of dollars. And then they turn around and fire at least half the staff. And that's just how it goes. I'm just like, me personally, I could not handle that. Like I would die of like an ulcer. Just, having to worry about stuff like that. And so I don't want to have to worry about that for my boy. So the route you're talking about is definitely preferable to that. But let's get into it. Let's talk about some of the stuff that's been canceled and stuff here.
Yeah, well, first off, we should mention that Microsoft today, I'm not talking about cumulatively, I'm talking about today, laid off over 9,000 people.
Oh my God.
Okay? 9,000 people over a variety of their companies and studios and things from places you wouldn't expect. And they've also canceled a ton of their biggest projects that were coming up, including Perfect Dark.
I saw that.
Which a lot of people are really upset about. Yeah. The team that makes Forza lost about half their staff.
I'm gonna hate to tell Alex that because he loves the Forza games.
Yeah, there's another one. Everwild got canceled. Rare is gutted, by the way. Rare got completely gutted. Like the biggest person that works at Rare left.
Wow,
and most of their staff is gone. Rare is pretty much not really there anymore. Yeah. What they're doing, this is another thing that's messed up that they're doing. They let a whole bunch of people go and then offered to hire some of them back as contractors for less money.
So they don't have to pay benefits and everything. That's bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah,
This
is
is all,
closing up shop, and its first game, New Perfect Dark, has been canceled.
yeah.
Damn.
That's been supposedly been in the works for 8 years, and they canceled.
Wow.
Yeah, 8 years. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, Sledgehammer, dude. Call of Duty. They're letting the stuff that's happened. So they acquired Activision, and then they're letting a bunch of people go from, and they're destroying Activision. Just like, I don't want to be too negative here. I'm not trying to be. I have been accused in the past of being too hard on Microsoft, and that's only because I love Microsoft. But they've disappointed me for a long time, and this right here is just the biggest example lately of why I have a problem with the way they do things now.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. And what's really messed up, when Phil Spencer, who's the head of the Xbox team, when he announced all this, the first thing he said before he announced the layoffs and everything was, things are better than ever at Xbox. We're making more money than we have in forever and all this kind of stuff. And then he says, we're going to have to let all these people go and da-da-da-da-da. And but it's all about the profits. It's about the end of the quarter, trying to make show that this is what there's one of these theories, and I don't know if this is 100% true, but I've heard it repeated a bunch, that the investors are looking to see some sort of evidence that the AI initiatives are working for their profit margins, and that they don't need as much staff because of the AI implementations. Mm-hmm. So Microsoft is trying to appease the investor expectations by letting a lot of people go, like I said, but then sort of hiring some back as temps or whatever. But this is like them trying to appease the investor concerns that the AI is not working as well as they think, because they're really worried that the investors are going to get freaked out that the AI thing is not as good as everybody says. So this is really about AI and investment expectations for that.
Wow.
I don't know.
That
I can't imagine how you make more money than ever. You feel like things are going really well, and then your reaction, as a company, as a corporation, is to fire 9,000 people and ruin studios and cancel games. What are you doing? Like, you acquired all these major studios and publishers, Bethesda and all this other stuff at Activision, and then you're gonna ruin all of that. You're gonna make it to where there's no staff to make games, and then the games that were being made you're gonna cancel. What is the future of Xbox? I mean, this is a big concern also, right? Because the big push for Xbox seems to be Xbox Anywhere, which is this idea you don't need an Xbox because everything's an Xbox. And but not really, because like they've been pushing this little handheld that's it's a portable Xbox, and they made a big deal out of this handheld that's coming out, and it doesn't play Xbox games. It plays PC games.
Mm-hmm.
It plays PC games that are branded Xbox, like some, how there's an app on PC where you can play games. If you own them on Xbox, then you have the PC version.
Yeah,
it's that. It's not Xbox. You don't have access to your Xbox ecosystem. Well, unless you want to do streaming, which that's really what they want everybody to do, is just play streaming.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. They have weird expectations from their studios also, because like they force like companies like Rare to make games that they don't even want to make. Like whenever they're trying to push like a certain type of game, and y'all need to make this game, and they're like, what? I don't know. It's a very strange company, Microsoft. I don't know what they're doing anymore. I don't think they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, yeah, it definitely sounds that way. Like between the craziness that comes out of like Nintendo being Nintendo and doing what Nintendo does, and then it's just like, and then you know what I was thinking of the entire time. Yeah, the entire time you were talking to me about this, what kept running through my head is those scenes from Tommy Boy where he's talking about buying the company and he's just like, I just want the name. I don't give a crap about the people at your factory. I don't care about the factory. I want the name. That's all I want. And that sounds like literally what's happened is they may have squeezed a couple of games out of some of these companies since they got them, but they just want the name to be able to slap on, say Activision. Everybody knows Activision. Everyone trusts Activision. They're not going to know or care about it now, like especially if the next couple things they put out are either don't come out or are crap.
Again, it goes to the appeasing investor expectations. You know, these companies are being run by people that know nothing about this business, but they put money in. You know, it's being run by, you know, these CEOs that are running these things. Like, you know, by the way, Phil Spencer said he's going to be retiring whenever they move to the next gen or whatever that is. So he's not going to be around too much longer. But, you know, these CEOs, their concern isn't trying to make the best product or trying to make sure the customers are happy. You know, it used to be like that. In fact, Xbox was the best at that. You know, they were really pushing backwards compatibility and they did a whole bunch of really cool pro consumer stuff. But now the concerns are, how do we keep the they're not even trying to make the investors happy. They're trying to keep the investors from freaking out and pulling their money or doing something. Like the investors have these companies like over a barrel. You know, they have them. They really have ruined gaming. This whole like the way things are done now, where everything's everybody answers to these investors. It really has screwed up the whole industry. Absolutely.
Well, it's screwed up so many other things. Like the whole reason why Toys R Us went under is because of I can't remember what it's called. It's not it's a form of investment banker. I don't remember what it is, where they basically bought the company like took a loan out against itself and then had the company, Toys R Us, that they had to pay it back, and yet the investors didn't have to pay anything on it. Well, all of a sudden you saddle this company, this company gets bought out by, this investment firm, and all of a sudden it's saddled with like, $4-8 billion in debt, and they can't come out from underneath that. Joanne Fabrics, just the exact same thing just happened to them.
It's an investment scam is what it is.
It is. It really is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And things are this country. This isn't like a problem that's like you said. It's not just video games that are dealing with this. It's every company everywhere. It's all messed up. Another thing I want to say is a lot of times these studios that have been shut down by Microsoft or have been severely crippled by Microsoft, that has happened because their sales numbers are not what they want them to be, what the investors want. However, Microsoft has committed completely to Game Pass and encouraged everyone and from every angle to get Game Pass. And if you get Game Pass, you get the games on Game Pass and you don't buy them. So there's no way that new games that come out from first party studios can ever make the money they want them to make, because nobody's buying them because they have them on Game Pass. Microsoft, it's such a bizarre business model. It's not even a business model. It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to hold them to that standard, then you can't give the game to people on a service where they don't pay for the game. It's very strange.
Yeah, no, and because granted, haven't been. It's funny. I'm getting back into gaming, but it's all retro gaming. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like the boys even asked me the other day. They're like, "Dad, did you ever beat that last Mario game you have?" I'm like, "Mario Wonder." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "No, I haven't beaten it. I liked it. It was a lot of fun, but no, I haven't beaten it. I bought what is it called? Stray on Xbox because I saw how fun it looked when it first came out on PlayStation. When it finally hit Xbox, I bought it. It's been so long since I've played it, I would probably have to start over because I couldn't remember what was going on. But then it came on, Game Pass. And so like I think my boys own maybe a handful of games that they've bought, but otherwise they usually just play, like they will buy a couple of games here and there, but for the most part, if it's on Game Pass, that's usually what they're using. So, and then they come to me and they're just like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to buy this game because it's going off Game Pass next month." And I'm just like, "Well, yeah, it's what happens, dude."
Well, I don't know because I don't have Game Pass. I did try it for a little while and it was pretty cool, but honestly, I didn't use it enough. The problem that you have when you have too many games is you don't really play them. And
yep.
And then you have the problem like what your son was telling you, which is, oh, I was gonna play it, I just didn't get around to it yet.
Yeah.
And now they're taking it off, so I'm gonna have to buy it.
Yeah.
But are you really gonna buy it, or are you just gonna like shake your fist at the air and say, oh, I don't know.
It'll probably come back later.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other problem that he's running into, and actually he came into me today and was like, "Hey, Dad, I think I'm gonna have to buy an external hard drive for my Xbox because I'm playing like 2 games right now, and when this other game comes out, I'm gonna have to delete something, and it's that constant swapping because the hard drive's only so big, and they're like, oh hey, the new game's gonna come out, it's only gonna be 300 gigs, and it's just like, it's like half of my hard drive. Like, what do you mean only 300 gigs? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And so
the problem with the new Xboxes is if you want to get more memory, you have to use their little memory cards. Like, you can't just put another hard drive on it.
You can put an external one, but it has to be USB 3 and it has to meet certain qualifications. Believe me, I've been looking into it.
Right, but not for the series games.
Right.
That's only for like Xbox One and 360 and backwards compatible stuff. That, like, if you can hook that, because I have it hooked up to my Series S. Mm-hmm. And you can put all kinds of Xbox One games and 360 backwards compatible, but none of the new games. They won't go on that. Oh,
so you have to have that little insertable thing?
You can put them on that, but you can't play them off of that.
And that doesn't help.
No, it doesn't help.
All right, I'm gonna have to break that to him tonight. He's not gonna enjoy that one.
Yeah, and those little memory cards are overpriced.
Oh,
they're horrible. That's why I haven't bought one. Because it's like ridiculous. It's like, for what do they have? They have a 1 terabyte one, and that one usually runs about $250, something like that. And then they have a 512 gig one, which is like 100 and something. It's ridiculous. Once in a while, you'll catch them on sale or something. They're very expensive.
Yeah, like, let's say this is GameStop, but how big is that? Seagate expansion card for Xbox Series XS, 1 terabyte, $150.
Oh, that's a lot better than what it was.
It is better.
That's still a lot.
But one of the external hard drives that I saw, an external 2 terabytes is $90.
Yeah, but they don't work with the new games.
But if they're not going to work with the new game, it's not going to make any difference.
Right. Like, I have a 1 terabyte hooked up to my Series S, but yeah, I can only put Xbox One and 360 games on it. I can't put the series games on it.
Well, I'll have to tell him that. It did not explain that. So, well, thank you. Yeah, this is very educational.
Once in a while, it's good to talk to me. I'm just saying.
So
I don't know everything, but I know a couple of things.
Yeah. But yeah, that's ridiculous. It's a throwback to the days back when Nick and I were actually just watching some videos the other day. They were talking about back in the day. Remember how Sony kept pushing all of their own media stuff on everything? Yeah. And what was it? It was, I can't remember what the video we were watching. It was something on YouTube, and they were talking about how like the Vita and a couple of the other PlayStation portables, they were beautiful systems. They had good controls. They had some decent games, but the fact that they wanted you to buy their memory card, which was like twice as expensive as an SD card, made no sense at all.
It's BS. Yeah. I couldn't believe they did it. I was like, and then they never brought out they never were like, okay, well, here's an adapter that'll let you put an M2 in, or something. Mm-hmm. Like, you would think they would have figured that out. And I'm sure they could do that, but they won't.
No, instead they let the system let the system die, and then hackers finally get around to it and take it apart and are like, oh yeah, I figured out how to solder on this thing and add like 2 gigabytes to the thing, and now I can play every game on there. And it's just like,
Yeah.
so you're saying the console could have had probably double the life that it had
Oh,
had
yeah,
you
yeah.
not had
Oh,
the
see,
other arm of Sony going, you
Right.
have to press the new media.
Yeah. No, Sony shot themselves in the foot so many times. And for Microsoft to be doing it, that's what I was saying. Like, for Microsoft to be doing that and for them to have not brought out an adapter by now is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
but they have some deal. They have some deal with Seagate, I think, or something like that.
I'm sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was
I'm
trying to
sure
explain. I was trying to explain that to him as well. I was like, yeah. I said, like, when the Xbox first came out, it was like, it had a hardcore fan base, but it was nothing like the PlayStation 2.
Right.
And then when the PlayStation 3 came out, they're like, we're going to force Blu-ray down everyone's throat, and it's going to cost so much more. The 360 just like beat the hell out of them. And
Yes.
then Microsoft did the same stupid thing and came out with the Xbox One, like, it's going to be your all-in-one system, and it's going to do all this. They talked for like, 40 minutes on that thing before they ever talked about a video game, and everyone was like, what are they talking about? I don't want a DVR. I thought I was getting a new Xbox. So,
TV. There's this edit that's like a clip, like a video clip that's just Don Matrick saying TV. Like they cut all the different. It's ridiculous. And then it was like it was so dumb because it wasn't just the TV they pushed. They pushed Connect. Like you had to have Connect.
Oh yeah.
And nobody cared. And it was forced. You had to have it. And the system was less powerful than the PS4, but cost $100 more.
Yep. That was funny because that's what it was. It was, I don't remember what channel it was, but the guy was talking about the biggest mistakes that, certain consoles made or whatever. And that's what he was talking about. He was like, literally, they come out with this thing. They're talking about this, that, and the other. And then Sony comes out like the next day and just says $399 and just drops the mic and walks off. And it was just like, yeah.
Well, that was the original PlayStation that they did that with the Saturn, because the Saturn got announced.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But they pretty much did the same thing with the PS4 because they let Microsoft come out, do their whole, dog and pony show. And then they just came out, dude. I don't know if you remember, but the original reveal of the PS4 with the price and everything is legendary.
I vaguely remember it, but then, like I said, when I was watching that video and they were showing parts of it, and I was just like, oh yeah, I remember that one.
Dude, I used to go back and rewatch that because it was so good. Because the crowd was losing their minds. They were because it was just one awesome announcement after another, and then they got to the game sharing thing. Because I don't know if you remember, that Xbox was going to make you not be able to share games and do all that, like what Nintendo does now with the.
It's like they went through Microsoft's speech and just specifically just like went counterpoint for everything. Like walking out, we are not going to make this console be online 100% of the time. Crowd loses their crap.
It was so fun, dude. Jack Trenton going through that list. It was so funny, man. He was grinning and laughing the whole time.
Yeah, because he knew he had him by the balls. Like it was
chef's kiss. It was amazing.
Absolutely.
The hype for the PS4 was so fun. I mean, I can't even tell it. Like, it was so great. People I don't know. I guess a lot of people remember, but a lot of younger people, they don't know. But wow, we'll probably never see nothing like that again, because that was pretty wild. And then the Switch hype was really, really amazing too.
Yeah.
The first Switch,
Yep.
But that was also because Nintendo was mea culpaing from what they did with the Wii U. They were like, hey, we messed up. Yeah. What do you want? We fix it.
Yeah, they did. They sold a hell of a lot of them. That's a good little console.
Switch is amazing. I'm very happy. I got the OLED. I'm very happy with it. I'm not getting the Switch 2 for a while. I'm really unhappy with a lot of things they're doing lately. I don't know. We really want to talk about all that, but yeah, it's a lot of my friends are super into the Switch 2. They're really happy with it. But they're really only playing Mario Kart,
Yeah.
And I'm
maybe if some more games come out, and I'm sure, depending on, of course, I'm hearing back and forth. I'm hearing it sold what they were hoping it was going to sell. I'm also
Hmm.
hearing you can still find them if you really want to find them. Uh, but yeah, I think Christmas time will kind of be at least this first year will kind of be the thing. Like if they don't
Hmm.
drop the price at all, obviously they're happy with where things
Oh,
are going.
they just announced yesterday they're raising all the prices on the original Switch. Did you hear this?
No.
In Canada, it's starting in Canada. It's probably going to go other places, but they're raising the console, the original Switch, the games, the like several things, accessories, different things. They're all getting price raises.
No, I didn't hear about that. That's
It's a
crazy.
big thing. People were losing their minds about it because they're like, wow. I mean, there's been a lot of bad things going on with Nintendo lately with their pricing and how
Yeah.
they're handling things. So the thinking is that they want to make sure people that go buy a new Nintendo system buy the Switch too.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people might be like, oh, well, we'll just get a Switch because it's so much cheaper.
Yeah.
So the solution is just to raise the pricing on all the original Switch stuff. This is the craziest generation of console stuff that I've ever seen. I've never seen, back in the day when the GameCube came out, I didn't buy a GameCube right away. I waited until the price dropped, and then I bought a GameCube, and it was like $99 or something like that, right? Because when it came out, it was like 150 or something like that, and then they dropped it to 99.
Yeah, I think so.
I've done that many times with several different consoles. Because that's what you usually do. It comes out, it's $300 or it's $200, and then they drop it to, instead of 300, now it's 150. They did that with PlayStation. N64 did something like that. Obviously the Saturn, because that was being liquidated because it was a bad situation.
Yeah.
But my PlayStation 2 did that. Like every console, dude, the PS3 comes out and it's like $700. And then at the end of the life of the PS3, it's like a $200, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what normally happens. Normally as time goes, the prices come down. And now we're seeing a console that came out in 2016, the price is going up from after it's not even their current console anymore. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It makes zero sense.
But this is a different reality we're in, man. Things are up is down is up. Dogs and cats living together. It's nuts. And so this is why a lot of people are saying, I saw some funny comments from people. They're like, used to be I wouldn't buy a game right away because I'd wait for Black Friday. And now it's like, if I want to save money, I have to buy it right away because it's going to go up later.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
Like, is this the new business model to get people to buy games at launch? Raise the price later?
Wait till someone actually makes that announcement. They're like, it's going to drop June 1st. Come October 1st, it's going up $5.
Right.
People are like, what? What
Exactly.
do you mean it's going up?
Dude, if they figure this out, if these companies figure this out, they will do it. They will. They will collude like they have been, and they will do this. And that will be. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with the industry anymore, but it's definitely pushed me towards retro gaming. It's definitely pushed me in that direction. I'm very glad that we come from a generation where we really like those older games.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of the purchases that I make on modern systems are for games that are old that are on those systems, so yeah. I don't know when I'm ever going to get a Switch 2 because I'm just not, I don't see any reason to get one. Maybe eventually, but I don't know. I'm not planning on getting the next PlayStation. I'm not planning on getting another Xbox. I think I'm at that age, man, where I'm just like, look, I like old stuff and I cannot lie.
Yeah.
You other brothers can't deny, And
it doesn't hurt that, the other day you and I were talking about like that guy's channel, Macho Nacho Productions, where he finds all of these different, I mean, some of them are a little tough to do, these modifications, but you could also pay someone to do it if you have the scratch for it. But it's like if you're okay with emulation, it
Dude.
doesn't. It's almost like free to play emulation nowadays. And if you want to play on original hardware, if you've got a little extra money, you can get an HD you can get an HD signal out of an old Nintendo console. Like,
I've got a guy, my buddy Chris Courage has done multiple modifications on several of my older consoles. He did AV on my Intellivision, on my 7800. He did a S video mod on my Duo. He's done he's fixed up several things. So Super Nintendo, he did a complete recap on it. He's done a crap ton of stuff for me. I couldn't even begin to tell you all the stuff he's done. If you got somebody that loves to do that stuff, that'll do it for a good price. You can, dude, there's so many of these consoles you could get and play the real thing and have it on your modern TV looking great.
Yeah.
And then you have the best of everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Plus there's companies like Atari that are putting out things like this, which is, let me see if I can get it out of here for a second. Hang on. Hopefully I won't lose all the cables while I'm trying to do this.
Yeah, don't do that.
All right. You know what that is?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's an Atari 7800 Plus. It's got HDMI out.
Nice.
It's a emulation based system, but it's from Atari. Puts out a really good signal. Plays cartridges. Wow. Sorry, I hit my microphone. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
But there's companies putting out modern consoles that you can play cartridges on, or even play games off of EverDrives and stuff like that. So many possibilities. Plus, you have like the Nintendo Classic, the little minis and all that.
Yep. So
yeah, man, there's great options.
Like, I'm already going through so I've been playing. I've been doing the retro achievements, and I went through and did. I 100%ed Mario All-Star because I was just like, some of these are some of these are kind of hard, but I still managed to do it. I thought, let me go through and look at doing like Super Mario World. I'm not going to do 100% achievements on that because some of them just like, how some achievements are. It's like, the last achievements I have to do are like, go through each one of the worlds and beat every single one of the levels, but using small Mario.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I'm sure that's possible, but I'm like, do I really want to put myself through the ringer to do that? Nah, I'm good. I'll move on to something else. So like I moved on to ActRaiser. So I'm going through and playing with ActRaiser right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm driving myself insane because I cannot. One of the achievements is to get the maximum amount of population for that first place Fillmore. And it's 400 or 914 population, and I'm at 906, and I cannot figure out how to get those last few people on there. So it's driving me insane. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, I'm going through and playing. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm going through and playing, some of these old games that I loved playing back then. But then the other day I was just finding something that was on or whatever, and the guys from My Life in Gaming were playing Bonk. And I was just like, I've never, I've played Bonk a little bit, but I've never really sat down and played Bonk. There's a crap ton of good games on these old systems that I've never touched, or I've barely played, and I never really gave a really fair shake. So I was going through my recall box, and I started going through and adding things to a favorite list. Some of these consoles, I don't have anything listed. I'm just like, I know there's good games on here. I just haven't found them yet. So I'm like really kind of excited to go back and do that.
Absolutely. And emulation I'm not saying you could do this off of a Pi, because the Pi is not the most powerful thing in the world, but emulators have gotten really advanced for PlayStation 2 and Saturn and Atari Jaguar. There's some really advanced emulators out there. Like on my gaming computer, if I run PC SX2, which is an awesome PlayStation 2 emulator, I can run those games at native 1080p, and they look like modern games almost. Some of them do the racing games,
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the racing games I think hold up better than anything else.
And also some of those platformers like the Ratchet and Clank games and stuff like that. So it can really bring a new experience that you never even would have had if you wanted to back in the day, with some of this stuff. GameCube is like that too. There's some awesome performance you can get out of Dolphin, which is a GameCube emulator, and then you can play, like F-Zero and different games like that, and just have them look freaking amazing.
Yeah, and that's I've before the show, Si and I were talking. I actually have the last parts I need to finish a PC build, and I should definitely be able to do that. And that's really why I'm building this PC so I can go back and play some of the emulators. So like the Pi 3 I have, a Pi 5 will do up to like Dreamcast, and it'll do it really well. Yeah. But beyond that, you really do need a PC at this point, unless they just bring out like a Pi 6 or whatever. But yeah, I'm just like, I'm wanting to do that. Plus there's some games on Steam that I want to be able to play with the boys. Like I still, when I finally get Left 4 Dead going and I get them playing it, it's going to be a good time.
I want to play it with you because I haven't played it in forever. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So
they've improved it, by the way, since.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. In the past few years they've done some updates on it, so the engine is improved and there's some extra stuff going on with it. I haven't played it in a while, but I do remember there were some improvements made.
Cool.
Yeah, on the Steam version. So.
Oh yeah, that's what we'd be playing. So
yeah.
But, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're a little over an hour. I think this was a great first test run. So I'm hoping to make this at least a weekly thing. I may start, we've been talking about playing retro games. I may jump on, play retro games from time to time as well. We'll just kind of see how it goes, but I'll try to make sure I post when we're going to be on and all that other good stuff, so that if you want to join us in the chat, you're more than welcome to. We only had one chatter, and it was my son at the very beginning. Of course, he had to jump in and harass his dad, but it's all good. Actually, I'm gonna give him a plug. So if you watch this and you like watching Fortnite, because that's what he's playing, he's actually apparently pretty good at it. Go check out Epic Lion. He does live streams from time to time where he plays with people who follow him and stuff, and they have a good time. So, but Cyrus, where can we find you online?
Super Mega Graphics 64 on YouTube, and that's pretty much where you want to find me, because I do have a Discord, but just go to YouTube, do a search for Super Mega Graphics 64. Spell graphics like Turbo Graphics. You'll be fine. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I've got it on the screen here. So, if you want to follow the main site, you can find us at epicallygeeky.com. We do several different shows, including the Epically Geeky Show, Creatively Geeky, and Sustainably Geeky and Marginally Geeky. Real quick, Si, before I sign off, did you get a chance to listen to the interview yet?
A little bit. I didn't get to the whole thing, but
cool. So
yeah, the guy's really cool.
Yeah, he was super awesome. He's been reposting all of our stuff and everything. I think he's enjoyed the cuts that I put out and everything. So anyway, and then if you want to follow my individual wacky adventure online somewhere, you can find me at Optimus Gene on Instagram. So hope to talk to everyone soon. Talk to you later.